Hey guys, welcome to our channel. I'm Kieze. This is my wife Victoria. We decided to just make a vlogging channel. We want to talk about our lives. Yeah, I don't really know how
And
else to.
books.
Yeah,
We
so
love books.
recently, I've always loved to read, and I'm huge in watching the booktube stuff. And our whole relationship, I've always liked to read. I've liked to read since I was a kid. And one day we were in the store, and my wife was like, "Oh my gosh, I want to watch this movie. I heard this movie is really good." And I was like, "Well, we're not going to watch the movie unless you read the book." And that was the birth of a now bibliophile in
I
my
have a
life.
problem.
Today's video, we're just going to talk about some books that we really like since we've gotten back into reading and since we picked up reading. Um,
Yes.
like I said, a lot of my reading was when I was a kid, so it was a lot of young adult stuff. But now that I've picked it back up, I've grabbed onto some other things based on recommendations from BookTube, from Book Talk, and yeah, we just thought we'd share that with you today.
All right. So, the book that started it all for me, a lot of people are going to give me hate for this, I know, but I really wanted to watch the movie. And okay, so I read this book and it was very addicting. I couldn't put it down. I think I read it in like what, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, which is probably it was
Because
really good for you at
it
the
was
time.
good for me at the time. Um, of course, we are parents, so I didn't really have a lot of time, and I didn't want to devote so much time just to reading when I had other priorities. So, but yeah, I really actually did enjoy reading this. Of course, now that I've read many other books,
Mm-hmm.
this is obviously not my favorite,
Yeah,
but this is what started it all for me. So,
you
yeah,
liked it,
I did like it. I did
and
like it at the time.
and me
I
the whole
did.
time I was just like, "Oh, how is it? Do you like reading
Oh, you
now?
like it, don't
You like it?"
you?
Oh, and then after she finished the book, we watched the movie, and guess who paused the movie 45 times to tell me that this wasn't in the book.
It was so aggravating. It was so aggravating. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't like that. Now that I'm like a bookie, I don't even want to watch the movies. I
which
just want to read
you're
the
still
books.
trying to find like your favorite author, and
I think
we're
I do have a favorite author,
we're still kind of new to
which
this.
we'll make another video about that if,
Yeah.
you know. But
So for me,
I
what
do.
started it off for me? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you off.
you're good. You're good.
What started it off for me was in about third or fourth grade. I picked up this series. It's called the Warriors series. I was super addicted to it. It's about cats, and they live in the forest, and they talk to each other. They have clans, and one cat in particular, like this one right here on the front cover, his name is Rusty, and he's a house cat. Ends up strolling in the woods and decides to join the wildcats of the forest. And the first six books, I think, it's an ongoing series still today, which is pretty crazy. The first six books were about Rusty. It was his arc. And now I get to read them to my son. So that's another reason why I started picking reading back up, is because I read to our oldest. We haven't done it in a couple days, but he always liked me reading to him. So once he got to the age where I thought he could remember things, I picked this back up, and this is actually my copy from grade school. So
You can
uh,
tell.
yeah, it's pretty beat up. It's been through like 4 or 5 moves and whatnot. So
Right here.
yeah. So yeah, I started that series with him, and we're also reading the Mufasa book because of the new Lion King movie. But yeah, so that's what started it all for me. That's what really got me into reading. Oh, and the Chronicles of Narnia, I was really big into that. Lord of the Rings, I read that a long time ago too. But everyone who gets into reading about fantasy and stuff usually starts with Tolkien. So yeah, that's what started it off for me.
Cool. And you mentioned that you read to the boys, so
Yeah.
we'll do like if you want, we'll do like little book hauls with like our children,
Yeah,
books that we're reading with our boys and stuff. We
I
have
know
two little boys,
we
so
see a lot of people do weekly reader updates for like their channel and stuff, and not too many people I follow or see have like young kids. Maybe it's just the algorithms that I see, but yeah, we can do like a
And our
weekly.
boys like to read,
Yeah, we do like a
which is
weekly reader
nice.
update
They
with
see
them.
that we read, and then they are like, it's really funny. Our oldest son, Kieze will be watching like a booktube, and so my oldest son, he wants like his own booktube like uh
Playtime.
playtime. Yeah, so he'll like sit in front of his bookshelf, and he'll like have a desk, and he'll like pretend that he's talking about these books,
Yeah,
and
and
he's
he's never
never
read them.
read them.
Doesn't even.
It's the cutest
He
thing.
barely knows
It's
how
the
to
cutest
read,
thing.
but yeah, he's like, oh, this one's got a fox on it. It's really good. Yeah, that's something that we want to do. Mostly me because it's more like my quality time that I get to spend with him. So
Yeah, so if you're a parent and you like to read, and even if you're not a parent and you just like to read and you want to follow us and come along with our journey, and
yeah, we're just doing this for fun.
it's just,
It's not just books. We're gonna
we'll
talk
do
about
other
life and
stuff
stuff.
too. Whatever comes.
So now we're gonna talk about, I guess we'd say, like our top 3 books right now. So since September, I've read 17, and I'm not going to count anything that I've read like in previous years. I'm just going to start basically saying like I just started reading in September. So
Yeah, we should probably clarify that I just started reading
yeah,
in October.
yeah, my wife started reading in October of 2024, and she's read how many? 16 books since then.
I think
17
so.
too. But she
I'm
pumps
not
them up.
sure.
She pumps it
I
out
do like
pretty
one a week.
pretty fast.
Now I do like one a week. Obviously, like I've gone through more recently than prior. Like
She's
than last year.
she also will take a break. She'll like one book you're gonna hear about. She read it in a day, and
Yes, I did.
she probably could have read a couple more that week, but took a break.
I did.
After that book, she
That was a
went on
lot of
her.
information to process.
After that one, she went on her first reading slump, and she didn't read for like 10 days. She couldn't figure out what to pick up. Am I right
I liked
on
that
that?
one so much. I didn't know like was it that long?
Yeah, it was like 10 days, or maybe it was the
No,
first one on top there.
I
That ended
think
up
it was
putting me in there.
after this one. I kind of
Yeah.
went into like a little bit of a slump, and
She picked
I
up a
guess,
Nicholas
and
Sparks
I
book
wasn't.
like 5 times and read the first page, and that was it.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it. You can start.
Okay. So I have my top 3 favorites
So far
so far
out of
out
the
of the
17 she's read.
yes out of the 17 I've read. I'm gonna start with this one, The Perfect Marriage. I just actually read this. I figure, okay, so I'm a romance reader. I like romance and I like thrillers, where he likes a little bit
I like all
of
sorts of
everything.
things. I like
So
literary fiction. I like fantasy, some sci-fi, some horror, depending on what type. I read pretty much anything.
yeah. So, anyways, they're thriller. I didn't want to have like all romance or all thrillers. I've only read a few thrillers so far. I'm obviously more into romance, but so I really did like this one. Without giving any spoilers away, I got through it pretty fast. I think it only took me 4 days to read this book, and so it was a really easy read. It was very fast paced right from the beginning. Um, I was not expecting the end at all. You think you know, and you don't. You don't know. And the end really, really threw me off. Like I was genuinely confused, and that's how I felt. I didn't feel like shocked or surprised. It wasn't like a really, the plot twist was so different in this book
Mm-hmm.
for a thriller that I was like, what? Like, yeah. So this is probably number 3.
Give them the premise.
The premise. Okay,
Like
so
what is the story about?
so it says right here, his mistress is dead. His wife is his only hope. So basically, uh, it's a married couple. The wife is a defense attorney. The husband is an author, and he's been in like this writing fog where he's blocked. He can't figure out what to write. So the wife's obviously bringing in the bread. She's very, very wealthy. She's like one of the top defense attorneys in the country, and she's got a lot of money. So she ends up buying him a lake house, like a couple hours away from like their permanent home. and he obviously ends up having an affair, and the mistress ends up dead, and he is accused of the murder. So he's on trial, and the wife
His
him
case.
takes on his case. So, which is crazy, but it's just like the very end, you know why she took on the case, and it's crazy. Like it's crazy,
Yeah, this is one that
crazy.
she wanted me to read. So after the book that I'm reading right now, I'm gonna hop into that,
Yeah.
so we can talk about it.
All right, you want to do your top third?
Yeah, so probably I would say my number three, if you want to rank them in a 3, 2, 1 fashion, is The Sword of Kaigen. It is a fantasy novel. At the time, I'm pretty sure M.L. Wang was an indie author. Don't quote me on that. I don't know too much. But I kept seeing this book advertised like on Amazon. Like I'm just typing in books and stuff, and I didn't even see it on YouTube or anything. I don't know how it popped up on Amazon, but I like you know Asian culture, and I'm super into samurais and swords and fighting like that. So after I read the back, I'm like, man, this sounds pretty good. So the story is about this woman who actually is probably the greatest female protagonist I've ever read. Like the attributes and stuff that she carries is like a mom, and how it's portrayed, and how strong of a warrior she is, and all the things that she had to do. And she was, I don't want to give too many spoilers off, but she had to, man, I don't know if I should say it. This is hard. This is hard to not give spoilers away. But anyways, she's a really strong woman. Has a couple kids, I think four, I think. But it takes place in a place called Kaigen, and the culture is more like, I guess you could say, older. Like they're very traditional in their ways. They're very for the empire, and the world around them is more modern. So they have different technology and stuff. And her son is the other character in this, and he is going through school, and he learns that the government that they're a part of is keeping things from the people. So it's a story about Misaki and her marriage and her life and the lifestyle they live, and her son enduring all this stuff in school as well. And then like the, I guess you could say, the magic system. It's kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender. So they do a little like wind bending or water bending and stuff, which is pretty cool. The action scenes in this are awesome, and I highly recommend this as like a fantasy book to really get into. If you want to start fantasy, this is very easy. It's kind of a chunker. It's about 600 and some pages, but uh, it's really good. So yeah, that'd be my number three.
Okay. My number two, which is honestly like it's pretty tied, but my number two, um, Fragile Sanctuary. It's a romance. It's actually a romance. It's a suspenseful romance. It's a thriller romance. So it's like in between
Is that for the whole
both of them.
series or just for the book?
Yeah, so the whole series. So this was the first book. This is the first book. I'm reading it with a book club with a couple girls,
Oh wait,
and
yeah,
we're
I want to
on.
interject on
Oh,
that. So
I'm
I get my
sorry.
wife into reading, and she joins a book club with friends. I don't have friends that read, so I'm by myself, just like, oh yeah, hey, listen to
And
this
I
story,
don't
hon.
read
And
what
she's
he
like, yeah, that
likes.
sounds so great. Like that sounds awesome. And I'm like, yeah, you don't care, do you? She's like, not really. So then she has like all our girly friends over, and they're hanging out, and I'm just sitting there like
Like I'm sad.
sad, trying to like wheeze my way out there, like,
I know.
hey
Okay.
guys.
Anyways, back to the book. So Fragile Sanctuary. I don't even know, when did I start reading this? In December?
Yeah.
Yes, I read this in December, and we've read one book a month with my book club. Right now, we are currently on Broken Harbor. This is the third book. I don't have my second book with me. It's up in my on my bookshelf. But yeah, so this is a thriller romance. Little background. Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've read it actually, but I just remember it being so good. Basically, uh, this it's called the Sparrow Falls series, and in this Sparrow Falls town, it's really cute, like in the mountains type, town, and there's a family that takes in a lot of like kids, and they adopt them, and it's called the Colson family, and they they're all very, very, like, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very family oriented. So they like do everything together. They have like a family group chat, everything. They're always checking up on each other. The one adopted sister, who this book is about, her real family when she was about like 13 years old.
Are you going to talk about stuff that's like right in the beginning, or are you?
Yes. Yep.
Just got to
So
remember. You got to remind her
oh,
about spoilers.
I know. I'm not gonna give away anything. So basically, and I think the back actually tells you, but like, so she gets adopted, and because she loses her family in a house fire, and it's crazy. It's very fast paced. As far as like, it builds from romance into more of a thriller towards the end, and it's really cool how she wrote this. I genuinely really liked it, and it, every book in this series, the guy has given the girl a nickname, and it's super, super cool. Like, I've just started Broken Harbor, and already within the first two chapters, the girl got a nickname. And I don't know, if you're a romance reader, that's kind of a cute thing. So,
Is there any trigger warnings in that?
trigger warnings. Let me think. No, there's no trigger warnings. No, nothing weird. Um,
Oh,
no.
there's
Mm-mm.
no abuse or anything like that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope. No
Nice.
abuse. It's um I can't say what I want to say because it will spoil it, because there's the male character in here.
Sorry, that's my dog running around with his bone
the
behind us.
the male character, right from the beginning, like they want you to like try to wonder and keep you wondering what his past was. Like, right from the beginning of the book, you don't know anything about this guy. He's just there. He's working with one of the brothers, and um but when the secret unfolds, like, it makes perfect sense. And um yeah, I'm not sure if I really did this book justice trying to. It's really hard to explain this book. It
Yeah,
really is, because honestly, like, if you read the back, it gives away like the whole book. Like,
yeah.
do you remember like me
Mhm.
talking to you about that?
So it's
Um
a series of
just the small town.
three books so far.
Three books. Well, yeah, it's a total of six, I believe. So, but yeah, this was good. I'm sorry I didn't do very well explaining this book, but if you get the chance, just read it. It'll keep you wanting to read the other books. And so far, I like this one better than the first, or better than the second book. And the third book so far is really good. That one's more of a hockey
You
romance
like that
because
one
of the
better
one
than the
that
second one?
I like the first book in this series better than the second book, which is Delicate Escape. Yes, I like this one better.
Nice.
This one was better for sure. Um,
So if you like romance and thriller, you
yeah,
suggest picking it up.
I would suggest picking this up. It's really good. It's a good, and I think a lot of people would recommend this book too that have read it. So, yep.
All
I'm
right.
sorry I didn't do a very good job at explaining
No,
that
you
one.
did good.
You think so? I don't think I
Probably
do.
not, but you did good.
No, no, I don't think I did.
So my second book, which was the first book that I saw recommended by was Book Talk. First person I found on Book Talk, his name is Books Are Sick. So I really like him. He's awesome.
Yeah, I do like him too.
He had read Stoner, and I don't know, there was just something about the title, something about the cover, and I was just like, that looks real boring, and it's something that I enjoy is like boring stuff. Like, I don't know, I'm weird. Like, oh yeah, old English looking man.
That's funny. That's what
Just
drew
look
you.
at this.
That's what drew you in.
Look
Was
at
the
that.
cover?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Okay, but be honest, guys. Are you like a cover person? when you're book shopping? Like, do you look at the covers?
Yeah, I judge a book by its cover too
I'm a
sometimes.
judger.
Unless like I hear people talking about the author and then they explain like their writing style and stuff. But
I mean,
yeah,
come on, look at how beautiful this is. It's so pretty.
it's about a guy named I think his name's William. Yeah, William Stoner. He is born into like a really poor family, farm family. I'm kind of giving you stuff right off like the blurb or like the first couple pages. It's not spoiler. He ends up going to school. His parents like sent him off to college to get a degree to help them with their farming. So they sent him to go get like an agricultural degree, and he ends up going to school and he ends up falling in love with English literature and specific types of English literature, like poems and stuff. I think. Um, and he never leaves. He ends up becoming a professor at the university that he graduated in, and yeah, you just follow this guy through his life, and it's a different kind of story because you're following William, and it's the type of story where this guy is like right on the edge of breaking through and going up to the next level, but he's met with mediocrity his whole life, and he doesn't ever step out and take risks really. He's just comfortable with everything that's brought up in front of him, and it can be really aggravating at times. You're just like, oh man, like just argue back, say something, defend yourself, like. But then he doesn't, and you're just met with like, what would I do in that situation? And it gets really heavy. He gets you find out about his marriage and stuff, and uh yeah,
Which I did not like.
oh yeah, I would talk to her about the marriage and stuff. She's like, oh
Why?
man, that's awful. But without spoiling it,
Yeah,
this is
no,
one of my
it was terrible.
all-time favorite books. Books Are Sick. Nick from Books Are Sick.
Yeah, shout out.
He says that's like this is his favorite book. This is definitely top two for me because the next book is definitely my favorite book right now. It's really weird. You'll understand why, but Stoner really good. I highly recommend for guys especially, but if you're into old literature, because it takes place during I think World War I and World War II, so he goes through life during that time period as well. But yeah, Stoner number two. I don't know if I did it justice, but just go read it.
Just read it. Okay, so my first book, my number one, my all time number one right now to date, the one that I read in one day.
One day.
One day, I literally started at 12:30 in the afternoon, and I stayed up until like 1 o'clock in the morning
She
to
would have
finish it.
she would have had it done sooner, but she put it down because she's a mom.
No, actually, the boys weren't even here.
Boys were probably at grandma's.
The boys weren't even here. Yeah,
But yeah, you were down. I think I was
I
recording.
remember you're like, "Can you rub my feet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I have like, I'm rubbing your feet with one hand, and I'm like holding the book open with the other on the bed, like trying to like read the book, and like I'm
I'm like,
rubbing it at
what?
the same
This
time. It
isn't
was,
working.
hey, it did the trick, didn't it?
Yeah.
And that got me further. Okay. Anyways, the big reveal. And the thing is I never see anybody talk about this book. It's called Mine for a Moment by Katharina Mora. I'm going to read this again. I am going to read this again. Not now, not anytime soon, but I am definitely going to read this again. There really isn't a point to it other than the fact that like it's just this girl and uh she has like a problem with like not like a problem but like she has like this thing that she like makes a list for everything. Like she has lists. That is her like it's almost like OCD. Like she has to have a list for everything that she does. And one of the lists is um yeah, honestly like this probably shouldn't be my favorite book. It probably
It's
shouldn't.
spicy.
It is spicy. It is spicy. Um but it's not like the spice that I loved about the book because
Right.
I mean, some people like that. I don't like that. But it's the way that like for one the plot, the storyline. I loved the way that like and this is for the romance readers obviously, like the way that the guy in this book, I don't even know his name, honestly. I don't even remember. Talked to her. It was very like praising and like he treated her like royalty and it was just really like swoony. Is that the word that people use?
Sure. He had
Swoony?
Riz.
Like he had Riz for sure. And like I don't know what it was about this book, but for me to finish it in one day and love it as much as I do, I really do love it. I don't want to get I will literally give it away if I tell you what it's about.
Every time she
I
picks
I
up a
will get
book.
I will give it away because even if I tell them what the list is that she's trying to like complete, it's gonna give it away immediately. So I cannot give you that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Read the back of the book. Read what it's about and you'll know. I don't want to give it away though.
She liked this book so much that every time she finished another book, I'm like, was it
Was-
better than mine for a moment?
And I'm like, I
She's like, you can't really compare
can't
them.
really compare them. It's different. It's just it this is a different kind of book. And I don't I'm not even sure if this author has like I know she has one more book. I don't know if she has any more than that. But like every time I've gone to like Barnes and Noble, she only has this and one other book.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure if maybe she's a new writer. I'm not
Maybe. I don't
sure.
know. I don't know anything.
But yeah, the storyline, it was I liked it. I like it. If you were to read it though, you probably wouldn't like it. Some people might not like it.
Probably not.
I liked it a lot. I really liked it.
Yeah, she every time I go into the bedroom where the bookshelf is, she stands there sometimes. She just rubs it.
Like,
She's
oh,
like, "Oh, this is so good."
this, yeah.
All right, number that was your number one.
Oh,
Mine.
Archer. His
Oh,
name's right there on the front. His name was Archer. Okay, that's
to
all.
who? Archer Hanson, Harrison. Say
Harrison.
Harrison.
Yeah.
Okay, my number one, which another book that I didn't see recommended on YouTube or TikTok. I saw it on Goodreads
Oh, really?
for historical fiction because that's one of my favorite genres.
I see this one all over TikTok.
Yeah, now I see it all over too. But
Mm.
and it's a very popular book. It's got tons of reviews, tons of ratings and stuff like that.
Yes,
So
yes.
obviously
Yeah.
it's not anything that no one knows about. But I had wanted it for so long, and my wife works at a school, and they were getting rid of a bunch of books,
Hmm.
like throwing them out or something. And
Just like donating them.
she's like, oh, yeah, donating them.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, do you want to take a look at any of these and see if there's anything you like? And she sent me a picture, and or maybe you
I think
saw the book.
I was like, oh my gosh, look at what they have because I want to read this book too, but
She's got too many other things going
I
on.
haven't gotten to it, but I am going to read it. I am going to actually our book club is reading it next. So we're gonna take a pause from the Sparrow Falls series and we're gonna read this book next. So I'm excited. The book
Yeah,
girlies are excited. So
I'm
all right, go
excited.
ahead. Sorry, I'm not trying to steal your
No, it's
thunder.
okay. So it was like a beat up hardcover version, but I was like, yeah, sure, I'll read it. I don't care. I can get a better copy later on. Boy, did I get a better copy.
Oh
So
yeah.
they just came out with the 10th anniversary edition, and it's The Nightingale. Okay,
It's
I
so
don't know
pretty.
much about Kristen Hanna. I know she just came out with a book called The Women, and I just picked up another one called The Four Winds. Is that
The
what it's
Four
called?
Winds, yep.
But holy cow, this book was amazing. So it. Oh, thanks. So this book is amazing. It's about two sisters. They live in France. One of them obviously is older. I think they're like 12-year difference. Oh, yeah, look at those sprayed edges, man. That's so nice. I think the one's 12 years older than the other one. The age gap is kind of significant. Um, but it takes place during World War II. And the older sister, she had like I guess this might be like a little spoiler, maybe not. She ended up getting married like super young, like 16, because she got pregnant, and her little sister lived with her. And then after that happened, she left. So her younger sister is more rebellious, gets kicked out of schools and stuff like that all the time. And then World War II hits. So you're with these sisters throughout the war, and it's in France. So you get like the whole how it started and how things seem to be kind of nice. And then obviously with the way things progressed in the war with Germany and the Nazis and the Third Reich, it gets pretty heavy. And Kristen Hanna's writing, the way she gets you to connect with the characters and stuff like that, and her detail and the relationships that they encounter, and man, it's really good.
I cannot wait to read
And it's kind of like a romance. Like it's
Really?
a little bit. It's not too heavy into like the swooning and the eye gawking and stuff, but it is romantic in the
it.
sense because the one, obviously the older sister, her husband ends up getting called to war, and this is like right in the beginning of the book, so it's not any spoilers. He gets called to war, so she's enduring the war without her husband, and she has a daughter, and then the other sister is like single. She doesn't have any relationships and stuff, but she wants to help in the war. And during that time, women uh, weren't really valued, I guess you could say, in the sense of being able to do things for the war. So a lot of their war efforts were behind the scenes. I highly recommend this book. I can't wait to read more of her stuff just because I liked the way that she got myself to connect with the characters. And then, oh, I can't explain it anymore. And I love World War II, and it's awesome. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys. That's it. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you pick up the books. I know BookTube's like really popular, Book Talk's really popular, and some of these are probably all over there, so you see them all the time. But
Yeah, probably.
we're awesome people. I don't really know any of those people, so they might not be as awesome as me. I'm just kidding.
You are pretty awesome.
But yeah, thanks
All
for joining
right.
us.
Bye.
See you.